Hey, what's up, YouTube? If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. There's a reason why you're in debt, and there's a reason why you haven't attained financial independence. The problem is you. The good news is the solution is also you. Let's get into it. My name is Paris Clough, and this is Financial Self-Reliance. On this channel, we talk about the mindsets and the skill sets of the wealthy so that you can learn how to manage, protect, and grow your money. Go ahead and watch this whole video, and if I bring value, hit the like button and subscribe so that you don't miss any of the content that I produce. The reality of where you are today is based upon the decisions that you made yesterday. So if you want to have a better tomorrow, you should make better decisions today. So some of the reasons why you're in debt right now. Now there's some legitimate reasons why someone might be in debt. They may have had a health condition or an emergency, something came up, maybe a divorce, maybe they had a huge health burden and their hospital bills came in way more than they expected. And so those examples are important, but in reality, they're not the biggest reasons why you're in debt and why you're in trouble. Some of the biggest reasons why you're in debt and in trouble is because plainly, you just spend too much money. You have to get better control of your spending. You're probably spending money on things that you don't need to impress people that you don't care about, and quite honestly, they probably don't care about you either. So it's important to make sure that when you're spending money, that you're doing it on things that bring you value and things that will make your life better and more productive. That begins with creating a management program for your cash flow. You have got to understand how much money is coming in and how much money is going out. If you're spending more money than what's coming in, you're going to accumulate debt. You're going to be buying things that you don't really have the money for, and because of that, you're just going to continue to compound the problem that you've had in the past by doing the same thing you've always done, and so that's why you're getting the same thing that you always got. So it's important for you to make the change. Change how you spend your money. Once you understand that you need to spend less than you're making, and you can begin to turn the tide and begin to grow your assets instead of grow your liabilities. And so the other reason why that you're probably in debt is that you've never been taught really how to manage your money. Most schools don't teach it, churches don't teach it. It's not really something that we're taught in our families. Most of our moms and dads didn't teach us how to do those things. Now the wealthy people do. Wealthy people talk about money all the time, but the poor and middle class usually end up having to figure it out on their own. However, knowing that you were never taught doesn't mean that you can never be taught. So it's important you take action now. Now that you know that you need to make a change, it's important for you to make the change from today forward. Learn how to manage your money effectively. Once you understand how to manage your money, then you'll be able to get out of debt a lot faster. I recently did a video that I'll link here and I'll put in the description about how you can manage your money more effectively, how you can take a look at your income and your expenses and make sure that you're bringing in more money than what's going out each month in your bills. Another reason why you're in debt is that we get bombarded by consumeristic material all the time. All the advertisers, all the companies, they all know that in order for them to make any money, they've got to get you to buy their stuff. If you don't need to buy their stuff, they got to figure out a way to convince you that you need to buy their stuff. And all too often, unless you're a disciplined person and you really understand this whole cash flow process, you're probably going to be duped by these marketing guys because they know how to convince you to buy their stuff even when you don't need it. You have to get clear on why you want to be out of debt, and you have to be very clear on how to manage your money and develop a system whereby you're in control of your money rather than your money being in control of you. There are plenty of people out there that are willing to spend your money. Make sure that they know that it's not their place to spend your money. All right, there's two kinds of debts. The two kinds of debts are secured and unsecured. Secured debts are debts that are actually backed by something that you could sell and get most of your money back, if not all of it. Things like a house, a car, or something that you've bought that still has value that you can resell. Unsecured debt is debt that's not backed by anything that you could resell. It's stuff that you buy as you consume throughout the grocery store, maybe at the department stores. It's credit card debt. It's stuff that you can't really resell for any major value. It's stuff that eventually ends up probably on a yard sale, which is definitely not going to give you the money back that you spent on it. So you may have heard that there are good debts and bad debts. Secured debts are the good debts. Those are debts that are backed by something that you can actually resell or that you can turn back in and get your money back or get out of the debt. Unsecured debt is bad debt. That's the kind of debt where you've spent all that money, you have really nothing or very little to show for it, and you can't make it back. And there's no way for you to resell or sell anything to make that money back. So good debt versus bad debt, secured debt versus unsecured debt. So unsecured or bad debt is the debt that you want to work on getting paid off first. After watching this video, I want to make sure that you finally get out of debt that you finally do what you need to do to make sure that you get out of debt and you stay out of debt. Because if you don't really look at why or what got you into debt in the first place, it's more than likely that you're going to get right back into debt as soon as you pay off the old debt that you had. If you don't understand that you've got to manage your money properly, you might get real good for a few months or maybe a year and pay off some debts. But if you don't get the habit down of managing your money and not worrying about this consumerism that's out there, not caring what the Joneses think, so to speak, buy stuff because it brings you value. Don't buy stuff to impress other people that you don't care about, and frankly, they don't care about you. As long as you can really discipline yourself and really maintain that discipline, you're going to be able to get out of debt and stay out of debt. And then, even better, you're going to be able to grow your net worth and grow your assets and become wealthy. That's the idea here, is once you can get to the point where your money's working for you, then you can actually stop working. Or maybe you can just relax a little bit more from what you are doing and let your money pay for some of your bills. But let's get back to this idea about how you can get out of debt the most efficient and effective way. All right, the first step to getting out of debt is being completely honest with yourself. You have got to list out all the debts that you actually have. In this spreadsheet here, I've listed mortgages. And sometimes people have a first mortgage and a second mortgage. Sometimes people have multiple cars, so it's important for you to make sure that you're listing all the car debts that you have. Who's the lender? What is the balance you have? What's the monthly payment? And what's the interest rate that you're paying? All of these things are going to be critical in determining how to get out of debt the most effective and efficient way. So you've got to do a little bit of homework. You've got to do a little bit of research. Open up your statements. Look at your credit card balances. Look at your car loans. Look at your mortgages. Look at any other debts that you have down here and find out who you owe the money to. That's the lender. What the amount of money you owe is, that's the balance. What your monthly payment is, and then the interest rate that you're paying. Because this is going to be critical to how you pay these debts off. The next thing I want to show you is what's called the debt service ratio. And this is important for you to realize because you might be in a critical situation. How to calculate your debt service ratio is you take your monthly gross income and your total debt payments. That's why I remember in that other sheet I showed you it's important to calculate all your monthly payments. So if you take your total monthly payments and your total gross income, what you'll get is your ratio. It's a 0.25. So you have 25% of your income is going to debt payoff. Now at 25%, that can be maintained. At 30%, you got to start planning to pay that stuff off quick. 36%, it becomes an important issue for you to pay off right away. 41%, it's a priority. You're in a position where you're going to be in trouble if you don't make some changes right away. 45% or higher, you're in critical condition. You're in a situation where you might end up in the financial ER if you're not careful. Now, how do you pay these debts off quickly? If you are in a critical situation, how do you pay them off quickly? So here's what I've done. I've created this spreadsheet here, and this allows you to type in the name of your creditor, the interest rate, the minimum payment, the balance due, and then I'll talk to you a little bit about what this cash flow index means and what secured or unsecured we already talked about. A secured debt is a car loan. So the car loans here definitely were secured debts. Unsecured debts, you can see the MasterCard, personal loan, student loan, and Visa. Those are all under the unsecured category. So these are the bad debts. These are the debts you want to pay off first. These debts over here are manageable. You don't necessarily have to pay those off right away, but you're probably going to want to pay those off as soon as possible after these other ones are done. So you probably heard of several ways to pay off debts. One of those ways is called the debt snowball. With the debt snowball, you take the lowest balance and you pay that one off first, and then you move to the next lowest balance once you have that paid off. So let's do, in this particular issue, balance. We're going to do the debt snowball. So we're going to do a sort by lowest to highest. So right now, if we were to do the debt snowball, the MasterCard would be the first one that we would be paying off because that has the lowest balance. Now the reason why you pay off the lowest balance first in a debt snowball is because it gives you that euphoria, or it gives you that feeling of accomplishment. Once a debt is paid off, you feel like you can do it. You've done it. You've paid it off. You can go for it. That's awesome. And you can really make those, and you can really get motivated to paying off the next one. Now what you'll do is when you pay off this lower balance, you take the minimum payment you were paying to that one and you add it to the next one. And so now this second one would go from $35 a month to $60 a month, because 25 plus 35 is $60. And now that $60 would go towards that balance due. So any extra money you have, any extra that you get, you would put, if you're doing the snowball, any extra money would go to this first balance first, to pay that off first, to give you that feeling of accomplishment. to give you that feeling like you did it and you're ready to go, that's the one that you want to be able to go for first. Now, the other way to pay off your debt is called the debt avalanche. And the debt avalanche, what you do is you take the highest interest rate and you pay that card off first, because the higher the interest rate, the more you're paying in interest. And so you want to be able to pay that off more quickly so that you can reduce the amount of interest you're paying. One of the big problems to being in debt isn't so much the amount of money that you borrowed, it's the interest that's charged on the amount of money you borrowed. And many people over time may end up spending or doubling the amount they borrowed just because they had to pay back all the interest. In this particular example, if I was to do the debt avalanche, it wouldn't be the MasterCard that I would pay off first. Let's take a look. So you sort this, it would be the Visa card that you would pay first because it's got a 22.9% interest rate. So I would take all the extra money that I could drum up, and if you've done my 30-day challenge, or if you've done my watched my video on how to manage money properly and look and budget properly, you'll find that there's some extra money that you can pull somewhere, and you can put all that extra money towards this first debt, pay that one off first, and then once that one's paid off, you go to the next one with the highest interest rate, and so on. I'm going to share with you something that's really actually a powerful way to pay off your debts. I first learned about this from a guy named Garrett Gunderson. It's called the cash flow index. So with the cash flow index, what you do is you take the total balance that you owe, divide it by the total minimum payment, and that gives you the amount of money that you're going to free up once that bill is paid. So, you know, if you're putting $25 a month towards a bill and you pay that off, and now you're putting $25 to the next one, $25 a month isn't a lot of money, and it's still going to take you quite a while to pay something off that's in the thousands at $25, even $60 a pop. But if you had $200 a pop going, you could really free up some cash flow to go towards paying off these other debts even faster. So the cash flow index gives you the most efficient way to pay off your debts by telling you which loan to pay first so that it will free up the most cash flow in your budget. Now, if you were to pay off this personal loan first, even though it doesn't have the highest interest rate, and even though it doesn't have the lowest balance, it's got the best cash flow index. So if you paid that off first, that would give you $200 more per month to tackle these other debts that you have here. And the next one you do would be this car loan. And so you'd pay off all that car loan. Even though it's a secured debt, it has the next highest cash flow index. So it's going to give you the higher cash flow. Imagine having $200 and then $260, which is $460, and then taking $460 a month and hitting this $15,000 loan with $460 additional to what this $286 was been doing. You'll be able to pay those loans off way faster. I hope that you really take time to manage your money properly, to look at your budget, learn how much is coming in, learn how much is going out, really trim down all the expenses that you have, make sure that you have some cash flow, some positive cash flow, so that you have extra money each month that you can start putting down towards your debts. Whether you choose the debt snowball or the debt avalanche or the cash flow index, either way, get out of debt as soon as possible. What I would probably do personally is I would start with the debt snowball, just to give myself that sense of accomplishment that I did it, that I paid something off. I would start with the debt snowball and then maybe work towards the debt avalanche as I got higher in my interest rates as each loan gets paid off. But that cash flow index really does show you the most effective and efficient way to pay off your debts as quickly as possible. I hope that you make a goal to get out of debt as soon as possible and that you use one of these strategies, and I hope this video has helped you. I hope you have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.